My name is Todd McGrain. I'm an artist and I'm Artistic Director of the Lost Bird Project, and I'm Artist in Resident at the Cornell Lab of Ornithology at Cornell University. It's a great honor to be here at the National Museum of Wildlife Art here in Jackson, Wyoming. And I'm particularly pleased to have the Lost Bird Project here because it seems to me that at a museum that does such a beautiful job celebrating our wildlife in art, that we add to that celebration some memory of what we've lost, because if we forget, I think it's too easy to let what we still have slip away. The 5 birds that I've represented here are the passenger pigeon, the heath hen, the Labrador duck, the Carolina parakeet, and the great auk. And I selected those birds because they were all driven to extinction in modern times, which is to say they were driven to extinction by us, really. And I picked them for their variety of form, for their variety of habitats, and for the variety of forces that drove them to extinction. I made these 5 sculptures out of bronze because I think bronze is a really beautiful material. It's really tactile. They are at a scale that's about our size, and I did that to try to elicit a sort of physical sympathy. They're too big to possess, but they're not so big as to dominate. So I feel that people can respond to them the way we respond to another person, with the same kind of physical sympathy. The circumstances of this project are certainly mysterious. I was in the studio working on a duck, and while I was working on that piece, I was very fortunate to be given Chris Kokinos' beautiful book, Hope is the Thing with Feathers, which chronicles the story of these 5 birds and a few others, and their extinction story, and Chris's relationship to that story, what it means to live in a time of extinction and a time of such dire environmental challenges. And when I went back to the studio, I realized that that duck I was making really had to become a memorial to the Labrador duck, and that was the beginning. And then came the other 4 birds. And with that, I was drawn to visit natural history museums, to look at their collections, to try to get a sense of what these birds actually look like. And I did drawings and the sculptures and studies. And there in the museum, on the little tags tied to the ankle of those specimens, it says where that bird was killed. And those little tags became maps in a way, or pointers to a history I didn't know much about, and I began to go out and look for the sites where these last birds were seen in the wild. And that's where the notion of memorializing them really came. The location of the permanent memorials: the Carolina parakeet is in Kissimmee Prairie Preserve, which is north of the town of Okeechobee in Florida. The passenger pigeon is on the Scioto River in Ohio at the Grange Audubon Center. The Labrador duck is in the town of Elmira in New York State. It's on the Chemung River. The heath hen is on Martha's Vineyard at the site where the heath hen preserve was, right in the center of the island. And the great auk is on a small island off the coast of Newfoundland called Fogo Island, which is where one of the very last historic records of the great auk was taken.